who is going to try and claim that the Doctor has always been straight, or that the show isn't just inherently campy and a bit queer anyway, and always kind of has been. Tom Baker used to run around in this like incredibly long rainbow scarf, and if that wasn't sort of signaling in the 1970s, I don't know what is. I mean, I'm not saying Doctor Who is always getting the character.
You're wonderful to see. You ought to be in pictures. Oh, what a hit.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is James, joined as ever by my good friend Steve. And this episode, we are talking about Christmas special episodes 2 and 3 of Doctor Who.
James, I think, like I mentioned in our first review of the Star Beast, this is something I've been looking forward to, the reunion of David Tennant and Catherine Tate, the 10th Doctor coming back as the 14th Doctor, and breathing some new life into the show after what most people would consider the Jodie Whittaker years, the Chris Chibnall years, not being Doctor Who at its finest form. And so there's been a lot of controversy in Russell T Davies, the direction he's taken, some creative choices he's made. Like I stated in the Star Beast, and I would continue in the same vein for While Blue Yonder and the Giggle, is any small area where I think Russell T Davies should rein it in, maybe not poke the cultural bear so on the nose, I'm willing to give a pass for, because I was so delighted by all three of these episodes.
Yeah, there was certainly something in the Giggle. I mean, the main kind of like plot of the Giggle is essentially sort of addressing the haters.
Yeah.
Where the nefarious scheme of Neil Patrick Harris's villain is to give give everybody the power that they are right, and the damage that does, and obviously that is something that has been encouraged by the internet. It has enabled everybody to have their opinion and to find the facts that support their opinion, whatever that might be and wherever that might be. And he's just shining a spotlight on the damage that can do in a society when everybody claims that they are right and they're not willing to listen to anybody else's opinion. And yeah, I mean, it's low-hanging fruit, sure, but it's certainly something that Doctor Who has had to contend with directly over recent years.
This is something I don't mind him hitting too hard on the nose on, because I think more awareness needs to be brought to this, because I think everybody kind of admits, yes, we're in our information silos and we've all heard about the algorithms. Even though we've heard it, I find most people still are not willing to make kind of proactive decisions and choices to kind of alter that. And there's what I think Davies does so well in this episode is he really highlights this hyper individualism that came out of particularly COVID, where there's kind of, we as a collective, as a society, what rights are we willing to give up, and realizing there's a tension there between individual rights and corporate rights. And Davies is really highlighting that in order to have a orderly society, you cannot have just rampant individualism. It just caused societal breakdown. And so I personally love the social commentary in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with it. Everything that the episode says is you're just like, yes, well, that is absolutely right. And I thought it did it in a fun way. It didn't address it too directly, or it repackaged it in a way that made sense, in the episode. And so I thought, all of that was fun. But I thought, I mean, just jumping quite back quickly to While Blue Yonder, almost like 5 minutes in, and I want to talk about the sort of the little prelude, if you like, to that episode, because that was quite important for me. But once they're on this spaceship and they're wandering around, and Donna sort of says to him, "Wasn't Isaac Newton hot?" And he's like, "Yeah, he was that. Oh, is that who I am now? Okay, yeah, I guess that's who I am now. Okay." And it's this beautiful little sort of aside, and I thought it was just a nice little swatting to the haters. He knows it's going to stoke the fires. It's just like, and she responds by going, "Oh yeah, well, you were always a bit that way." Everyone had their suspicions. And I wanted to get into this last episode when we were kind of talking about it, or we alluded to it. It's like, anybody, any diehard fan, who is going to try and claim that the Doctor has always been straight, or that the show isn't just inherently campy and a bit queer anyway, and always kind of has been. Tom Baker used to run around in this like incredibly long rainbow scarf, and if that wasn't sort of signaling in the 1970s. I don't know what is. I mean, I'm not saying Doctor Who is always gay. The character, the Doctor, sorry, the Doctor, not Doctor Who. As regular viewers will know, I know not very much about any of this. But to also claim that there has never been an undertone of sort of slightly swishy, campy, sort of homosexual undertones in there is lying to themselves, quite frankly. And so I thought it was just quite kind of fun that he just kind of like outs himself and just kind of goes, whatever. Because so many people get so angry about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I got angry with it. I'm not one of those guys. On the other hand, one of the problems I have is when Doctor Who starts to be used in this cultural war, tug of war. And for me, it's not a matter of was he gay or is he straight. To me, the Doctor is asexual. He is a 900-year-old alien who takes on different forms. So to imbue him with normal human sexuality is erroneous from the beginning. To me, what makes, and I've stated this in the Star Beast, which I thought they corrected well from what they did with the Jodie Whittaker episodes, is that platonic relationship between companion and the Doctor is just, to me, it's beautiful. And I don't know how people are going to feel about the direction they went with the regeneration into the 15th Doctor, where he bigenerates. Interesting term, to bigenerate. But
I have thoughts
you have thoughts on that. Okay.
Yeah.
But I will say is kind of alluding that he's going to retire now, the 14th Doctor, David Tennant. I'm almost going to give him a pass on this too, because even though I don't like the inference that there is any kind of relationship beyond platonic, and they don't really go there, but it does look like I'm going to go into retirement and I'm going to experience something I've never experienced in all of time and space. I've been to the end of creation. I've been at the beginning of, the end, but you know what I've never done? I've never actually been part of a family in a very mundane world and just enjoyed a meal around a table. And that was the most exciting thing that's going to happen in the day. And I kind of liked that they kind of went in two different directions. Yes, the Doctor's going to continue to go out and explore all time and space, but we're going to retire David Tennant. And because he's one of the most beloved, and we're going to give him we're not putting him out to pasture. We're going to give him the experience that he's never had. And I thought that was beautiful.
You see, because exactly that really bothered me.
Oh, no, there's the crutch.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah, because
off to the races.
I feel that what this entire run has revealed is that the series is so beholden to David Tennant. And I understand that he's been like the most popular one, in recent, since they rebooted the whole franchise or restarted it or whatever you want to call it back with back when they did it. The bringing him back anyway, although he is a different Doctor, but bringing the actor back kind of suggests that, we just need to appease the fan base a little bit with somebody popular, because we've taken some bold big swings recently and they haven't gone down especially well, and so here's a little something for the fans. And then if I was Ncuti Katwa, who's the new incumbent, I'd be pretty pissed at that ending, actually, because always it's like, okay, sure, we're going to give you the reins. We're going to give you the role. Here you go. But just
in case,
we got David Tennant still, waiting in the wings, just in case we need to restart this again and scratch you again. We because it's going to be a black Doctor. He's probably going to be a gay Doctor as well. Because Ncuti Katwa is very out and flamboyant. With his personas that I've seen him in to date, and so I expect that's why he's been cast, is they want to at least lean into that persona. Again, I think that the Doctor will remain asexual, and that's how it should be. But I think that they're going to that he's going to be a bit swishy and campy for sure,
which would be fun. That's fun,
And I like,
as long as they keep him asexual, he can be as out there as they want that character to be.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole point is that he regenerates, and he's a completely different version of himself every time. But I would be slightly frustrated if I was the actor, being like, okay, I don't feel like you've really given me the role 100%. You know, it feels like you've loaned it to me, or I'm renting it from you, you know, rather than it's mine. And, you know, the idea that Doctor Who is kind of getting his Pinocchio real boy moment, if you like, you know, it's like, you can just go off now. You know, you've done everything you need to do. You can just go and be a normal person. I was just kind of like, well, yeah, but really, I mean, because he could always do that if he wanted to. You know, he could always. He doesn't need to travel the universe solving crimes or whatever it is he's doing. He chooses to do that, right? He could choose not to do that. So this idea of them having to sort of split the personality, regardless of what the bi generation, the connotations of that are beyond the physical, I just felt that it was a bit of a cop out. You know, it was just like, just David Tennant's had his time, just get rid of him. You know,
yeah, but it's almost like a Conan, Jay Leno, the Tonight Show maneuver, where
it's exactly
we're going to give it to Conan, but if it starts to flounder, we can always stick Jay back in there really quick.
Yeah, no. So it left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth.
I thought, because everybody's been triggered about the race swap with Issac Newton.
Get over it. You know, they've been doing that. They've been doing that so long now. It's like, if you're still bothered by that kind of thing every time it happens, then, you know, you're never going to get out of bed in the morning. Just, you know, move along. That's what they do now. Move along. No, I wasn't bothered by that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm bothered by it. For me, it's always why, though. Why are there not enough? There's plenty of roles for representation in Doctor Who. When we start taking historical figures, it's one thing to do it in Shakespeare, or you do something with Hamilton, where you're doing a specific theme and motif that people understand, this is what we're doing. But if you have Doctor Who actually going to see this person in this point in time, my question is, why do you feel the need to do this? You know, yes, people can be bothered by the race swapping, but I want to know, what's the thinking on the other side? You know, why, if Issac Newton would be a white guy, you know, I wouldn't, if I was going to have him drop in on the Qing Empire, Beijing, I wouldn't have a Hispanic actor playing, you know.
Sure.
In fact, people would be furious if I did do something like that.
Okay. I mean, yes, you're absolutely right. It only goes in one direction.
Yeah.
You know, it's basically get rid of as many white characters as you can. It only goes in that direction. The reasons behind it date back to the reasons why only white men like Sir Isaac Newton got to be in the positions of people like Sir Isaac Newton back in the day. So, you know, but yes, I agree. Sir Isaac Newton was a white man, and so there is a strong argument to represent him even today as a white man. Otherwise, it's misleading, you know. And you can say that actually, historically or educationally, and lest we forget, Doctor Who was originally launched as an educational program way back in the day. To do exactly this, to travel through time and teach children who are watching it about history. That was the original plan, but that's not what they do these days, and it does bother me, but it's not going away, and I'm bored of talking about it in the nicest possible way, and I don't mean talking about it with you. I just mean the whole conversation. It's not going away. It's not going away. It is what it is, and it's just like, well, yeah.
For me, though, what bothers me is when you do that, it fuels fires that don't need to be fueled. The very thing that Russell T Davies is addressing in the Giggle, he actually partakes in himself. He's part of the problem he's trying to highlight. And so some of the more progressive ideas that everyone should be able to, if you're a member of the human race, can jump on with you. There's a hesitancy because they feel, okay, now there's an agenda attached here. And when people feel there's an agenda attached, it triggers them, and they start to not be open to the wider possibilities that I think could be conveyed. And to me, this is another thing that, and going a little off tangent, it fuels the Donald Trump party, the Nigel Farage party. You know, these little things. And this is what my issue with Russell doing this is. I don't want to see these guys in power again. And you're you're giving them you're giving them something to rally behind, to rally around.
Right.
And I think we just need to, Russell Davies needs to watch The Giggle, take its lesson, and stop poking the bear so much.
Sure. I mean, the other side of it is that I was just thinking, the actor Nathaniel Curtis, who plays Isaac Newton, is of Indian heritage, British actor, but of Indian heritage. I doubt very, very strongly that the Indian community, even the British Indian community, sees that scene and goes, "Yeah, brilliant."
Yeah.
You know, there is a very strong argument to respect history and just be like, you know, and to respect historical accuracy. And like you say, yes, when it is Shakespeare or anything that is fictitious with fictitious characters, do whatever you want with it.
Yeah,
you know.
agreed.
I mean, it is annoying, and you know, when I've ranted about it in the past, when it just seems even historically sort of inconsistent that you would have sort of these biracial families where even the passing down of certain you know,
genetic traits is just not going to add up.
Skin pigments or whatever just doesn't add up. But this is a performance art at the end of the day. When it's a historical figure, I think there is a much stronger argument for representing these characters accurately, and I also believe that you know, let's say for argument's sake, if it was a movie like, just randomly, like Oppenheimer, you know, no one's going to cast Oppenheimer as a black man.
No,
you know, because that is a movie that is trying to be realistic. I think the argument for this stuff is that this falls far more, or the filmmakers or Russell T Davies or whomever feel that what they are creating falls far more into the fantasy camp, into the Shakespeare camp, into the theater camp. And therefore they should be gifted the artistic license to do whatever they want. You know, I think we need to just accept that this is where we're at and this is what's happening. It's odd, but it's also and it's frustrating, but it's just the overcorrection that we're in the middle of right now, you know, and it will right itself eventually, hopefully.
Well, that's the thing, is in 30 years they're going to say, remember when we used to do that?
Well, I hope so. I hope so. You know, I really do. I hope, you know, because there's always the fear that it's going to go completely the other way. You know, but at the same time, nobody who's making these decisions gives two shits about us complaining about them. If anything, all it's doing is encouraging them to do it more. You know, particularly when it's people like us, two middle-aged white guys going, man, why are you getting rid of all the white people on screen? You know, we're no one's listening to us on this topic, you know, and it's just like, it is what it is. They
will listen to me, James. They will listen.
If I shout loud enough, they must. It's an overcorrection, and I think it is dangerous when it start doing it with historical figures, just because, you know, and this is always true when there's any kind of historical inaccuracy in a movie. Oppenheimer is not historically accurate, for example, to use the same example again, because there will always be people who watch drama as their form of history, as their way of learning about the past. Don't do that.
Not a good idea. Not a good idea.
Don't do that. Read proper history books, and you'll find out the truth. Because dramatic license always wins out.
Yeah, but
I think it's fair enough.
If you just go to historical books, you'll never learn that Sir Isaac Newton was hot.
This is true. The pictures of him I have seen. Not so.
Yeah, no. Gravity was working on him for sure.
Mavity, you mean?
Mavity, yes. Indeed.
I was paying attention.
Should we get back to the actual episodes?
Yes, let's.
So overall, how would you rate this as a non-huge Whovian, the three episode arc? Where would you want to go?
Well, I think if I'm completely honest, I watched these three and was like, yeah, that's what I thought Doctor Who was like these days. And I'm not on board. I'm just like, I don't have time in my life for this. It's fine. And I respect the legacy. It was great. On that note, it's great seeing Bonnie Langford and Bernard Cribbin in there.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Bernard Cribbin had already been sort of brought back. I mean, he died last year.
Yeah. No.
Tom Campbell,
he's Catherine Tate's Donna's
grandfather or something.
father. Yeah.
It was nice to see him. And Bonnie Langford.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who grew up in England in the 80s knows who Bonnie Langford is.
Yeah.
You know, this sort of ballet. I think she was like a ballet dancer first of all, and then she became like a sort of TV celebrity. And yeah, I remember when she was cast in Doctor Who, which was kind of just as I was tuning out of Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Or when I was gaining the agency to make my own television choices. Yeah, it was like I think she was the assistant for Colin Baker.
Okay, and, yeah. She and they made that reference. Oh, you're not the first redheaded companion, and I thought, oh, Amy Pond also is redheaded. So
I it was nice to see her because that brought back some memories too.
It's always good to throw in those Easter eggs and the old to connect. I like when they do make the attempt to connect to the previous Doctors from the before the not reboot, but the when they restarted
the regeneration. Yeah, because that's one question that I always had hanging over, and it's like, what happens to the companions when they regenerate? And sometimes they carry on, but sometimes they don't, right? Or there's a
they always carry on for a little bit, but then there's some dynamic that changes. You know, obviously Rose was Christopher Eccleston, and then she was with David Tennant for a bit, and then they had Billy Piper, yeah. And then they had a really tragic parting. She's like caught in a separate universe, and that's when Donna Noble pops in into his TARDIS. And so
right, yeah, I mean, it's often quite a springboard, a sort of a good springboard for sort of young upcoming actors, isn't it? I think a few of them have gone on to bigger and better things. Peter Purvis, I remember Peter Purvis was one of the companions in the very early days, and then he became a pretty regular sort of TV presenter, if I remember.
Well, everybody, that's what James and I think about the 60th anniversary, the special 3 episodes that reunited David Tennant and Catherine Tate, and ushered in the new generation, the 15th generation, the bi-generate Doctor that we're going to be introduced to. Remind me the name again, James.
Nkuti Katwa. He's Rwandan.
I already, with just the little I saw, I'm on board. I'm looking forward to seeing where this Doctor takes us. And yeah.
I like the fact that he didn't have any trousers. You know, that when they split, there was just one costume shared between them. Yeah. So he got the shirt and the tie and the underpants, and Tennant kept the vest and the waistcoat and the trousers. And I was like, okay. And then the whole episode, even by the end of the episode, I thought that was going to be David Tennant's parting word. Actually, you know, when he leaves him in the TARDIS, he turns around. I thought he was going to say, "You might want some trousers" or something like that. But he didn't. And so. I hope but he should probably wear trousers.
Yeah. Well, and we gave some thoughts about some of the more controversial aspects of the 60th anniversary special. But what do you think? Obviously, our first review of the Star Beast, people weighed in thinking we're nuts for even liking this. What's interesting is the on Rotten Tomatoes, James, I think it has like the 3 episode arc has like a 97% from the critics. And a 46% from the audience. So I think that speaks volumes of there's a gap in there somewhere that I think you and I did a little bit to address in this episode.
Absolutely. But yeah, let us know in the comments where you think this lies, you know, how crazy and woke you think we are, or whatever. You know, you certainly didn't hold back last time. So why do it now? What I do want to do is I keep forgetting to remind people, please do like this video. Please do subscribe. We've been perilously close to 2,000 subscribers for so long now. And it would be great just to push us over that precipice, onwards and upwards and all the rest of it. Please check out some of our other videos. Contact us on social media. I believe our links are in the description below. And we look forward to seeing you on the next video.
Till next episode, everybody.
Bye-bye. You're wonderful to see. You ought to be in pictures. Oh, what a hit you would be.